Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with my mid-year check-in slash book, tag video. Before I go on the warm weather disclaimers, warnings, I have my window open, I have my fan going. You might hear ambient noises. I will edit out as much as I can, but no promises. Okay, so this is like 2 tags in one, my mid-year thing. And I think last year is the first year that I kind of started doing this as the 2 tags in one. And if you're wondering why I don't say the F word, it came to my attention last year that this could be ableist language, and I don't want to do that, so I am censoring myself. But you know what the tag is when you hear the questions. So let me jump right in because there's lots to say. There's overlap between the 2 tags, that's why I do them together. One, the check-in has a stats section, which I like, and I don't want to do a separate video for my mid-year stats, so here we go. How many books did I read this year? 49. As of the end of June. As of today, so that's the number going with for the rest of these stats. What genre have I read the most from? Fantasy, and I'm using Storygraph's genre thing because I have not really been tagging my subgenres as well as I should to really give you a mix. And to be quite honest, I feel like romance was right behind fantasy as a general overall umbrella genre, but I like, of the fantasies and even of the romances, if I break them down into subgenres, I don't feel like one really overpowered another, so it's fine. With fantasy, I've been reading a lot of fantasy leaning manga, so there's that. Total pages read 11,944. Hours listened only 42.93. I haven't done a lot of audiobooks. There are 1 or 2 that I'm still not finished with, and to be honest, they're really quite heavy topic wise, so I haven't been listening to them, even though I could have been done by now. It is what it is. Alright, so I have my spreadsheet, which is not a spreadsheet. I have all of my responses here in my reading journal. That's why I keep looking down. You can go to my Instagram, link in the description if you want to see a photo. I'm sure I'll put this up at some point. Now, formats and forms. I read a total of 3 audiobooks, 10 ebooks, and 39 physical books. Reading physically is a comfort to me. It's something I'm more used to. I'm also, in general, trying to have less screen time, which unfortunately means waiting for the physical books to read those rather than just jumping in with the ebooks, even though I have like the Hoopla app now, and I have the Libby app, which I've had for a while. I have Nook, and I have Kindle. So yeah, the authors, I read 9 new to me authors and 10 new to me authors and 9 not new to me authors. And you may be thinking, but you read 49 books. We'll get to that. The types of books I read, only 4 standalones and 45 series. Yeah. 2 books, only 2 have been rereads, so there's that, and that explains why my standalones, why I don't have that many new to me authors. If you are new to my channel, I don't read a lot of, when I'm talking about whether the author is new to me, I only count them once. When I read another book in that series or another book from that author, they are no longer new to me. So, okay, time to get into those existential questions. Not really. The best book I read so far this year was a 5-star read. They're not always 5 stars, but it was March, book 1 by Jerry Lewis. This is a nonfiction graphic novel that I read as part of the Realm of Comics book club. Jerry Lewis is one of the 6 speakers at the Civil Rights March to Washington. Unfortunately, what most people know of that in general is where Dr. King did his I Have a Dream speech. John Lewis also had a speech that was pretty daring, amazingly daring. That's even after having been edited for to be less daring, I should say, at the last minute. So anyway, Mark's book number 1. This is kind of a graphic novelization of his life, heavily focused on his work with the civil rights movement. He was, I think, he was in his teens when he joined. So yeah, there's a little bit about how he grew up and what influenced him. He wanted to be a pastor, and he grew up in the South, obviously, and he wound up joining and starting a group which was the non-violent group of mostly students at the time, and they did a lot of non-violent protests, and it's quite honestly seems like what really kicked off the civil rights movement. It was really impressive to see firsthand accounts of, honestly, their nonviolent campaigns, which for me, I think, from what I remember growing up in school and being taught, wasn't really as focused on. It was like there were sit-ins and that kind of thing, but they didn't go into the details like John Lewis did in his own book about how they planned these sit-ins, they practiced, they prepared themselves to be beaten, to be spit on, to be cursed at, to have prejudice and racist language thrown at them, screamed at them, for them to have, things like hot coffee thrown at them. Like, they prepared, and that was something I didn't know. Best sequel so far. We're gonna switch gears here. A Nice House on the Lake, Volume 2. This is by James Tynion IV. I'll put the artists and things on the screen for this one and March, because I couldn't fit them in my notebook here, and I don't have that information off the top of my head. They are important too. This, like I said, was Volume 2, and this is another book from the Realm of Comics book club. And can you tell I've been enjoying, this is year 2 of reading, and I've liked almost everything. There's only been one kind of downer, and that wasn't bad. It just wasn't really holding me too much. But that's not the case for this one. This is like a sci-fi horror. I watched Ashley from Realm of Comics and her talking about, I don't remember if it was her best and worst comics of the year, I think, and either Volume 1 or Volume 2 was in there. And so I think I could say a little bit more about this than what I did because of what she said. So anyway, this is about a group of friends who we're invited to go on a vacation together, basically kind of like an Airbnb to a nice house on the lake. And they're friends mostly who have either grown up together or went to college together, and some significant others. And now, they're adults. It happens, now you have adult responsibility and or kids and things, so you don't have time to hang out and be together as much. So one of their friends who was like, I rented this place, we should all get together. If you need money or if you need me to push you verbally to come, let me know. Everyone arrives and they're having a good time, and it turns out while they're at this vacation away from everything, the world is ending. So, yeah, like there's like a mystery element to it because we don't know exactly what's going on. They don't know exactly what's going on. Like I said, there's a sci-fi element I can't go into without spoilers. But yeah, book one was good, but I was chomping at the bit. This volume 2 came out this year, and I read it I think a week or two after it came out because I couldn't wait. Volume 1 was on the Realm of Comics book club pick, and then Volume 2 came out a couple weeks later because I needed to know. And the reveals that we got in Volume 2 was just like, and there's gonna be more. There has to be more because there's still questions. So yeah, new release I haven't read yet, but want to. I got two. First, I have it out from the library. I just haven't gotten to it yet. That is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is book 2. This is the follow-up or the sequel to Ninth House, which I thoroughly enjoyed. That fit my aesthetic as far as dark academia. There we go. I couldn't remember the term. I don't like Alex, but I feel her. I identify a little bit, and it helps that it's set in New England. I'm in New York City, which is not considered New England, but New England's not far. I get it. The other is Night Angel Nemesis by Brent Weeks, where Brent Weeks is bringing us back to the Night Angel world. I've read the first trilogy and loved it. I don't know when I'm going to read Night Angel Nemesis. I think I need to do a reread of the first 3 books just to remind myself who the hell everyone is. When am I going to do that? I don't know. But I'm anticipating. I want to read it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year, that is Slay by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is the next Anita Blake book. I am a huge fan. Favorite series of all time, and yes, it is still ongoing. I am extra anticipating this book because the previous book, Smolder, ended with basically a cliffhanger in all the plot points, which I don't appreciate. That's never happened. I have a whole rant about it, and if you wanna, you can go back in my recent reads and find it. If I remember, I'll link it in the description below. But I need things to be wrapped up. So, Slay. My biggest disappointment so far this year, it was hard to pick. I'm gonna go with honestly is probably more of a mild disappointment, which is Smolder by Laurel K. Hamilton, the book that just came out. That came out earlier this year. That kind of ended with those cliffhangers because why? I am. The thing is, it's not that she's never had a plot point carry over more than one book. And some would say maybe too far. But not all of the plot points. She usually has various plot things happening, which I've mentioned in that rant whether it's a paranormal aspect or a romance plot point or the Kay's plot point within this, but not all three, none of them wrapping up. This felt like a tease, and maybe this is, in reply to fans having complained in the past about her books getting to be too long, and so we're like cutting it. But I'm annoyed, so that was disappointing because it wasn't mentioned that there was going to be a second book from this series coming out this year. She usually does like one a year, maybe one every 2 years, depending on how the writing is going. No one was expecting that, and yeah. So the biggest surprise so far this year, another hard one to pick between, but I went with Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name properly, but this was a sci-fi book, one of the 4 standalones that I read. One of my 12 challenge books, which was to read 12 books by 12 friends in 12 months. This one did squeak into the 12 months. I read it in January, I think. Someone recommended this to me in a Facebook group that I'm in. I asked for recommendations, and I'd seen it around. I've heard that it was popular, and I didn't know that this was going to be sci-fi. It was interesting. Like, I was fascinated the whole way through. Clara is an AI robot. I'm gonna forget the terms that are used in the book because it's been 6 months. Apparently in this society, they exist to be friends to children, and their kids' parents buy them for their kids. They're varying price levels and types, and Clara is not the oldest model, but not the newest. But the whole book is from Clara's perspective. They're meant to be, like I said, friends to kids. So they have been programmed with some kind of emotions or something, and understanding of how the world is and things like that. But they don't know everything, Clara does. We follow Clara as, she is living in the shop that sells those of her kind, and then when she is looking to be purchased, and when she becomes purchased, and we see the whole world and the family she lives with through her eyes, her perspective. So this was kind of like a character study, but from a very unique perspective, and it's not quite from when she was born to not quite to when she dies. Again, seeing regular people through her eyes is very interesting, and then this is a sort of futuristic world, but not too different from the world that we live in. So there's stuff going on that you don't quite understand because Clara doesn't quite understand, and you don't get any clarification. It's a little open-ended, but not too much. It's enough. It's closed enough that I felt content. But I was surprised by how much I liked this, by how much it kept me into it. There's no action, there's no adventure, there's no romance. If this was a regular contemporary literature, I probably would have put it down or DNF'd, but it was just fascinating. So, surprise, I didn't know that it was going to be that, and then surprise, oh, it's actually interesting for me. My favorite new author to me, or debut, so I went with To Me, and that is Jerry Craft, who wrote The New Kid, School Trip, and I forget one other that I know of that I've read. These are books that I've read. Realm of Comics Book Club, they're graphic novels. Jerry Craft is a black man writing about black boys. who the new kid is the first one. It's not a series; they're like companion novels. But we're following Jordan, who is a young kid who wants to be a graphic artist, um, but his parents wind up enrolling him in this elite school up in Riverdale that's in the Bronx here in New York, even though I think he's living in Harlem. And so this is a whole new experience for him, and we're going through that experience and dealing with what he's dealing with. He's 11, I believe, in this book. The issues are both racial and class, trying to figure out, like, every kid does, like, what does he want to do with his life and who is he as a person. So these were fun, and I think they were really well written. I wish I read more like middle grade graphic novels to be able to tell. I hear that there was a lot of allusions to other middle grade graphic novel series or books and authors. The only one I really grasped was A Diary of Wimpy Kid, and I haven't read that, but I've seen the art style enough to notice it. I just liked his writing style, and I liked the art style, and I would not at all mind reading more of Jerry Craft. My newest fictional crush. I was gonna skip this but I have to say, like, I'm glad I looked through all of the books I read, like, looked at them, and I was like, oh yes, because I would love to have a man like Atlas James from A Taste of Her Own Medicine by Tasha L. Harrison. I felt like that was a good man. He was solidly in her corner. He definitely wanted her and, pursued her, but I feel like it was in a respectful manner. He wasn't perfect. This wasn't like Prince Charming or whatever, but he was a decent guy that was sexy and interested and supportive of her, like the main character, I forget her name right now, like her interest, her spirituality, her family life. Like, she had kids from a previous relationship, and she was a little bit insecure about things, and like he was like, you can do this, you can do that, and I understand what this is, or if I don't understand, I respect it anyway. And I'm just like, and like I said, she is hot. So Atlas James, my newest fictional crush. Newest fave character. This was really hard because I wanted to go with an old favorite character, an old fictional crush, but I couldn't. So I just thought of him and tears came to my eyes. I'll get to that in a second. Newest fave character. Okay, Butler from The Queen's Price by Anne Bishop. Y'all, I wasn't expecting that character. I don't remember this character from the original trilogy, which I'll reread again. Don't have to twist my arm. But, he's a little bit of an asshole. And I like a little bit of an asshole. So, he put Satan in her place so many times, and he would not put up with hers or anyone else's bullshit. I feel that. Like, he was both complex and simple, and like, yes. Queen's Price, another series I like a lot. The Black Jewels series, the original, is very adult. There's a lot of trigger warnings, and we're in this world where there are people who are magic users and those who are not. Those who have magic are called the Blood, and they are the rulers. Unfortunately, in the beginning of this series, the rulers have become corrupt. Those who are a little less powerful have found ways to manipulate and abuse their way into power, and in order to stay in power, they have basically the trickle-down effect of abuse and manipulation. And when I say abuse, I mean all facets: sexual, mental, physical, emotional, like just degrading people and manipulating them into degrading their friends and families and their own, and regular people who are not magically. Yeah. So into this is born Hope, basically the chosen one. She's a young girl, and they're people who have been hoping and wishing and praying for some kind of change, some kind of savior, some kind of something, so that they don't have to live in this world like this anymore. They don't have to be the way they are or whatnot. You see like this coalescing of a family and court around her as she unfortunately goes through some horrible shit as a child, and then goes into her power and grows up, and there's a war and all of that stuff. We're in the future now and things have changed, but they're trying to make sure that this basically evil insidiousness, greed and want for power, and trying to use abuse and manipulation to get it doesn't creep back into their society. So the other character I have to put in here for different reasons, Moira from House of X, Powers of X. I almost just left it at Butler, but I was like, no. Because House of X, Powers of X is a, I guess, trade comic. There's 12 issues in it, 6 from House of X, 6 from Powers of X. And basically, this is an X-Men comic series that came out, I think, 2019. It's like a reboot of the series. You know how these people do. Marvel, DC, you know how they do. So, I read this because I want to be caught up. I love X-Men. And, like I said, it's a reboot of the series. And Moira is a linchpin that influences everything. And because I haven't read X-Men comic in a while, I was unsure at first if she was who I thought she was. And I was just like, no, this is a different character, same name. Nah, it's Moira. But not in the way we all know and supposedly like her, at least. Love her. Whether I do now or not, I will see. Because it depends on what her next move is. But I was shocked. I think her character is my favorite because she had so much influence here and it changed everything. That's all I can say. A book that made me cry. Okay, at first I was like, ain't no book that made me cry. And then I was looking at my newest fave character now in fictional crush, and then I was thinking, oh, you know who was in the past, and tears immediately come to my eyes. I have 3 books here because I was trying to figure out which, but I have to say, The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson, book 4 in the Mistborn Era 2 series, books 7 in the Mistborn series overall. I forgot it made me cry until I remembered one character, and then who was my favorite character 3 years ago, and my newest fictional cross back then too, and I just like I saw something coming and I had somewhere to go, so I knew I wouldn't really be able to finish it, and I didn't want to be crying on the train. So I put it down because I knew I was gonna cry, and I sobbed in that part. So it's towards the end, but like anyway, another book that made me cry. I don't remember which one. 3rd in the March series by John Lewis. For obvious reasons, they go over the Bloody Sunday, and also there's the aspects of I think it's the NLCC. Again, please don't hold me to these acronyms. You start to see the dissolution of it, and having watched, how they came together, how hard they worked, and that made me sad as well. So I might have shed a tear for that. The only other thing was, I definitely cried for this, but I forgot. Weathering with You Volume 3. This was a manga trilogy that I read for the BTS book club, and I wasn't quite fully understanding what was happening and what was the point of this story, but it was beautiful, and I definitely feel like the author did great work in putting the emotions, even translated. We got to the last one, and it was, it was a lot. I was feeling the feels, because, this kid, basically we have this kid who ran away from home for reasons we never find out. And he lives on an island, small island. I'm saying this because he ran away to Tokyo, Japan. And Japan is a series of islands too, but a much smaller island. Right? He basically ran away, and jumped on a ship. So they weren't that far away, but the island that he came from is unnamed. He ran away from Tokyo, and he's basically on his own. He's underage, so he can't really get a job, and he kind of gets adopted by this random dude who runs a underground supernatural newsletter type thing. Somehow he winds up bumping into and becoming friends with this girl who, she saw him one day and she thought he was hungry, so she bought him a hamburger, right? And then he finds out that she's a sunshine girl, which is this ability basically to bring sunlight. And it's been raining a lot in Japan in general, in Tokyo specifically, to the point where there's more and more floods. So, they obviously fall in love with each other. Not a so obvious manner, but it's very fun and cute, and his relationship with the guy and the other woman that works with them. I'm not going to say anything because that's a little bit of a spoiler, a small one, but a hilarious one. In the end, it's like they're being forcibly separated, but they're all trying to stay together, and it's heart-wrenching. So, yeah. There's a happy ending, though. Alright. The book that made me happy, I was really stuck on this one as well. Because the books I rated the highest weren't necessarily the happiest. See the March series. However, one 5-star was definitely happy was Spy Family Volume 4. I have been reading this series and I'm almost done, I promise. This is the series that won my manga bracket for me to decide what manga series I was going to start of all the ones that I was really interested in. I had read a bunch of volume 1s in November and December, and then I did a bracket because Daniel Green did it, and then with Gavin Hetherington, How to Train Your Gavin, did it as well. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like a good idea to help me to pick. Spy Family Volume 4 was fun. The whole series is fun. It's hilarious. There's enough plot to keep me interested, and it's not just flippant nonsense. I totally want to watch the anime, but I want to get them up to reading Volume 9 before I do that, and I will very soon. But this volume, they get a new addition to the family, and the way it happens is fun. It's also, I think, very spy mission-like, more so than before. We have a spy who his latest mission for his country is to try to infiltrate this elite school so that he can try to get into the circle of this man who may or may not be betraying his country. In order to do that, the mission is he has to have a family. This elite school is for children, and no one there will be talking to him otherwise. So he adopts a young girl from an orphanage. Unbeknownst to him, she's a telepath. He also hires a woman who's a secretary, I guess, on the side, to be his fake wife. Unbeknownst to him, she is an assassin, and she doesn't know that he is a spy either. The daughter, being a telepath, is aware of their jobs, but I think she's like 5, so she doesn't fully understand what she's seeing, or how that may be a good or bad thing, or how their jobs are seen by society. So there's a kind of comedy of errors happening. It's completely ridiculous, but also like, and this volume, which I put that made me happy, not that the whole series hasn't made me happy, but 4 so far has made me the happiest. Like I said, a new addition comes to their family, but also it's a very spy heavy volume. There are various chapters in each volume, and not always do they relate to each other plot wise, other than the overarching plot of the whole story, that is. And that's fine, but this one did, and I also feel like you really get more of why, I think it's Twilight, if I'm remembering correctly, his spy name, is like why this mission is so important. What's the deal between his country and the other country and some of the other organizations. It just, made me happy. Most beautiful book I've bought so far this year. I haven't bought very many books, and I will put one of the ones I've bought up here. It's a very simple cover. These are 2 ebooks I bought recently that I haven't read yet. LGBT plus rep from both of them. One, Cruel I saw recommended by Hia Booktubes, and it sounded like something that would be right up my alley, and I had the money for the ebook, so I got that. The other is book 2, and Drag Me Up by R.M. Virtues. And yeah, they're very simple. I like the dark look of things. The black and blue, or black and red, those heels are sexy as hell. Red bottoms, if I had the money, that would be the name brand heels I would get. But I don't even really have places to wear heels anymore. So there's that aside. But the other one, dude's hands. There's something attractive there. But putting those aside, let's talk about a series that I've been reading because these covers are gorgeous. And I haven't bought them, but I am sorely tempted for the covers alone. Children of the Whales. I'm just going to stick with, since this is like a mid-year 2023 check-in, with the ones I've read this year, volumes 8 through 12. I thought about sitting here and trying to pick which of these 5 or 6 volumes that I really felt was the most beautiful, but they're equally beautiful in different ways. So with this series, the cover art is a different character each time, and either if they have magic, they're doing something with their magic. If they don't have magic, they're doing something with something that has importance to the series and their character in the series. So, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? Oh my god. So let's just go. Right, these are the ones I physically have, which is not many, and I don't need to read all of these by the end of the year. But Tracks in the Emerald Sea by Brandon S. Sanderson. I've already started it, so I should read it by the end of the year, correct? The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This was a book that a friend bought me, and I have not finished it. I barely started it, and I want to read it because he keeps asking me about it. And I am somewhat interested. So this is a prequel to Practical Magic, which I have not read. So there's that. I've watched the movie. I love the movie, but I haven't read the book. But yeah, I believe, yeah, this is a prequel. Okay, we have another book that I've started and I'm getting through slowly because I'm doing it as part of a project, a study thing. 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack, revised with a new preface, a book of tarot. So I'm studying the original tarot, specifically the Rider-Waite-Smith. I've been reading this along with studying my Deviant Moon Tarot deck, and I took a break, so at some point I'll get back to it, but this is nonfiction. These are books I have out from the library, and I will finish this series, 7 and 9, and I will read 8 digitally of Spy Family. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm almost done. These two I've had out for a while and I want to read them. Zora Neale Hurston's Mulebone, A Comedy of Negro Life, and Jonas Gord Vine. If I can read more Zora Neale Hurston, I will, but I have my doubts. You'll see why in a second. I already mentioned Hellbent and Night Angel and Nemesis as the new releases I haven't read yet but want to, and Slay as an anticipated release. Let's see, the rest of the Realm of Comics book club books we have the next 6 months. I'm unfinished From the Cauldron Born. This is another nonfiction that I've mostly read, but I haven't finished yet because I'm doing a year-long ritual that's in the book. War of Two Queens, the next in this series that I enjoyed. I'm not like too pushed to get to it, but I want to. Blood Marked, definitely want to get to that, and Ashes of Gold, Archangel's Resurrection. These are books that are in series that I've started. I want to finish. The Stone Sky, I know it's gonna hurt, and I started it twice, so I just know it's gonna hurt, and I want to finish the trilogy, so I'm going to. Ace, another nonfiction that I've started, and I mentioned is pretty heavy. I think I got about halfway through it, so I need to finish that. The 1619 Project, I got 60% of the way through. Another heavy nonfiction that I needed to give myself a mental and emotional break from for a little bit. The Kish Quotient series, I read the first one. I would like to read the other two. The Simple Wild series, I've read the first 2 now. There's one more novel and one novella. The Earth Singers series, I have recently purchased because my library is not getting it. The last novella, so I can read the last novel after that. And a Small Town Romance series that is by Tasha L. Harrison. The first book I read, A Taste of Her Own Medicine, Atlas James, my fictional crush. So that series has 2 more books I want to finish. I think they're for each sister. The Book of Tea series, it's a duology. I read the first one earlier this year and loved it. I cannot believe I haven't gotten to the second one, but I can. I really can. The Priest series, because I've recently read book 2. I was going to attempt to read along with someone, but it didn't work out with the library holds. So I want to read the other 2 novels, including Priest and the novella that's out. I hope she writes a book for the last son, even though he's way younger. Just, have some time pass. 20th Century Boys. After I finished Spy Family, 20th Century Boys came in 2nd place in my manga bracket, and so I want to get to that. Will I finish that whole series this year? No, but I want to get to volume 2. Atomic Habits, that's the last book I think my 12 challenge, and I can't believe I have not read that or listened to it, which was the plan. I just completely forgot about it. The 12 months is up, but it is what I want to hopefully get to this year. Symbiosis, book 2. If I can, I want to read more of Saga comic series, and Monstrous 2 I've really enjoyed, but I think I slowed down on because I found out both were kind of on a hiatus. I think Monstrous might still be. Saga is putting out new issues. Orange Volume 2. Volume 2 is here. It's here. I think there's this and one small volume. And when I say volume, I mean the complete collection volume. There's like a literal just 200 page volume like this as well after. So I can finish that. Oh no, I misspoke about Atomic Habits. The other 12 challenge book that I haven't read is a Calixta. This was recommended to me by I think indie author on Twitter, so I need to purchase that. A Master of Jinn, because I've read everything else in this series, and that's the novel that I want to read and be caught up on. Rereads. The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I've been rereading this series really slowly because book 16 came out last year or the year before, and I got an advanced reader copy, but I haven't read it yet because it's been so long since book 15. I was like, I need to read the whole series again, and I just have been slow. So yeah, I would like to, so I can read this, and there's one more book after it, and I think he's writing book 17 now. Another reread, the Black Jewels trilogy. This is book 2, Heir of Shadows, and I just do because I love this. I've read it, reread, and reread it so many times. So that's all I'm going to talk about. But like, that's a lot of books. There's a series of retellings I want to read as well, but I'm not going to get into that. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. But these are the things that are on my mind that I want to read, that I want to continue, and yeah, so keeping it really real with myself and with you about what do I need to read. So yes, leave me a book emoji down below if you've made it this far and you want to support but you don't know what to comment. Let me know what's an anticipated release from the second half of the year that you have, and what books do you need to read absolutely by the end of this year, by December 31st, 2023. I'm curious. If you have a video, let me know and I will go watch it, because this is one of the things I do like to watch content wise from everybody. It's just like checking in. If I don't get to watch, you know, wrap ups and things like that, or vlogs, check-ins like this are where I can catch up basically. But yeah, guys, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you are new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next one is coming. I may do a flip through if I can. I'm gonna try really hard. I'm gonna do a flip through of my reading journal so you can see how it looks up to this point. And actually, in August, I have my YouTube anniversary, and I'm splitting it up. And actually, it's been 5 years since I started having bookish content, the first of which was this tag, mid-year book tag, and I've done it. So I'm going to put up a poll in my community tab, so go check that out. Find out which of my options you are interested in. I plan to do a live that's in August, and I may have may be able to pre-film something that I edit. So I have several options of what can be in both. So do go look out for that poll. Subscribe to my channel if you are new, like I said, so you know when those are posted. And links in the description to everything I've mentioned. My Storygraph and my Goodreads accounts if you want to be my friend on either of those. There's also some Instagram and Twitter. More Twitter. Twitter is more bookish content than Instagram. Not saying that there's none on Instagram, but not as much. And 10% off discount code to my Etsy shop where I make all natural bath and body products, as well as offering readings with tarot and oracle cards. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.